Do you believe in pretty privilege? If so, how prevalent do you think it is in society?
Story 1.
As a one-time fit guy that then got overweight and is now fit again, it's absolutely a thing and encountered it every day.
Story 2.
Agreed. I'm a woman, and when I was slim, men and women interacted with me way more. Now that I'm obese, it's definitely noticeable how invisible I am. I don't find people are openly rude, they just ignore me. The only group of people that interacts with me more now are other obese people.
Story 3.
100% agree. As a girl who's been kinda chubby, skinny, fit, and currently overweight. My family, with a long history of obesity, tries to make me feel better by reminding me I'm still thin in comparison. But the way people treat you when you're fat, even other fat people, can be really upsetting. I'm also kinda ugly at any weight, thanks to an unfortunate face, but people are much more forgiving of that kind of thing when you aren't also fat.
Story 4.
I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been putting some effort in for the past 3 years or so, and it is absolutely crazy how different people treat me now. Pretty girl treatment is definitely a thing. Most of it is subtle, but the big things happening really opened my eyes to how different I am perceived now. Stupid things I didn't notice before, like the door being held open for me, aisles getting cleared out for me to walk down them instead of having to shove past people, getting offered a spot in line, guys honking out on the street or catcalling, drinks being sent to my table. God, I had no idea how to react the first time it happened. I was like 28 now. Men have even waited for me outside of my workplace. A lot of it is a compliment, but sometimes it gets straight weird or scary too, which isn't fun.
Story 5.
Same. My weight has fluctuated a few times over the past decade for various health reasons, and each time I gain or lose weight, people treat me substantially different. Even family, friends, and coworkers. I think for most people, being nice to pretty people is an unconscious bias.
Story 6.
I have many times fluctuated from 200 pounds to 180 pounds, a healthy BMI. I don't even look that different at 200 than I do at 180. It would be hard to say which weight I was if you were comparing pictures. But people are so much nicer to me when I'm a little bit thinner. It's astounding.
Story 7.
When I lost a ton of weight, 80 to 100 poundish, it was very confusing why conversations were so much different. Lol. Wow, people sure are nicer and friendlier for some strange reason recently.
Story 8.
Yep, I have always been extremely muscular or skinny my whole life. I got depressed and fat for 2 years, and I have never been treated so terribly in my life. The second I got out of the shitty mental state I was in, lost weight, and got swole again, I instantly got treated amazingly again. Never realized how true it is until I got fat.
Story 9.
This is the litmus test. I used to be about 80 pounds overweight and was often disregarded and treated as less than. Then I discovered weightlifting and started looking pretty damn good in fitted suits, if I do say so myself. I'm a lawyer, and the difference in treatment in court was unbelievable.
Story 10.
Yes, I attribute about 60% of my success to being slightly above average looking and smelling good. Both of those things go a very long way in how people perceive and treat you.
Story 11.
An ex-coworker told me she'd get free tickets for events by just hanging around outside, being friendly and just asking people for tickets. She was surprised when I said the same did not apply to guys.
Story 12.
I believe it exists but comes at a cost. Beauty doesn't last forever, and being treated a certain way up until you hit middle age makes you realize that your reality wasn't necessarily real. It stunts emotional growth and maturity as people fawn over you for doing nothing, laugh at stupid jokes, feign the same interests you have, etc. etc. It's sort of like being on the Truman Show and everyone knows except you. It also warrants unwanted attention, and if you did not have a role model to help you set appropriate boundaries, it can actually be a risk. Now, as plastic surgery is becoming the norm, women have to pay for the privilege of being seen as having worth to society. I will not deny I had some privileges growing up pretty, but I look at my less attractive friends and feel envious of their sense of humor, self-knowledge, and confidence that comes from within. It's terrible to realize your worth was based mostly on looks. Some people play into it and try and capitalize off of it. I never knew I had it, and I didn't necessarily have a choice. Add on to that being autistic and not being able to get a diagnosis until middle age because being pretty and weird is socially acceptable, but the other way around means you have a diagnosis. Pretty privilege has a lot of intersection with misogyny, objectification of women, classism, the list goes on. It's not as simple as you're beautiful and life is handed to you on a silver platter.
Story 13.
100% real and almost certainly very prevalent. A few years ago I was depressed, didn't take care of myself too well, was sleep deprived, and had an unflattering haircut. People treated me like a weirdo, regularly gave me mean looks, and rarely interacted with me. Since then I've cleaned myself up, fixed my habits and wardrobe, focused on my wellness, and got a better haircut. The difference in how I'm treated now is night and day. People treat me with respect, listen when I'm speaking to them, I get complimented from time to time, and in public I often get glanced at, whereas I previously felt invisible, and when I didn't I just felt like an outsider. Maybe it has more to do with my own perception of others, but I certainly think it's likely that people are nicer to me because I'm more attractive now, especially since the halo effect has been scientifically corroborated. Honestly, I feel like it may be beneficial to be more average-looking, or perhaps on the more attractive end of average. Conventionally unattractive people are often ostracized, and very attractive people are often objectified, and their personalities and accomplishments can become minimized in the eyes of many. I would imagine it's beneficial to be somewhere in between.
Story 14.
There's no goddamn way it doesn't exist. A blonde girl I sit next to at work is an absolute head-turner, and every day she tells us how the man behind the counter at Greg's gives her extra bacon or an extra sausage on her breakfast sandwich. She doesn't ask for it and never pays extra for it. Subsequently, on our last team night out, when I went to a man walking around selling shots, I was told, as he looked at her, that it's £20 for a round, but the cute blonde gets hers for free. Right to my face, with no consideration for my feelings, attempt to hide that he was just straight up enforcing pretty privilege. Just to give another example, a conversation our team were having at work the other day. Cute blonde is going into extreme detail about her sex life. I'm talking dick size, positions, how long he went down on her, you name it. Everybody's chatting and laughing along, generally indulging the conversation. The minute it turned to sex toys, an obese woman on our team chimed in with, "Ooh, mine has diamonds on it." That was it. Just a simple comment about the decoration on a sex toy. But the room that was chatting and laughing along with the cute blonde went deadly silent. Everyone shifted uncomfortably, and you just heard someone go, "Ewa." There's no need for that. Obese woman hadn't even gone into anywhere near the level of detail cute blonde had. But it was so painfully obvious that people didn't want to hear it. Because she wasn't thin or pretty and they didn't want to picture it. Breaks my heart, man. Even though I'm in my mid-30s and that shit stings a lot less than it used to, it really boils my piss that people get treated better than others just thanks to a quirk of genetics.
Story 15.
My wife got a flat at work a number of years back. She mentions in a meeting before lunch she was going to change it over lunch and hoped someone walking by would assist. She said after the meeting it was like a fire drill of guys racing to her car to change the tire for her. She says those guys are just friendly, it's the company culture they were taught. Give me a break. I could be dying of gunshots in the lobby and the same guys would walk by saying, "Sucks to be you."
Story 16.
It's everywhere, all the time. Even mothers love their beautiful children more than their not-so-beautiful ones. They won't admit to it openly, but people who can notice the pretty privilege notice it happens at home too.
Story 17.
My first kid was such a cute baby. Older people would just walk up to us at the store or post office or park and hand him candy or a couple dollars. I didn't realize how often it was happening until we went to a festival when he was 3, and my son cried as we got back into the car. People had complimented him, but no one at the festival had just given him free candy or money to buy candy. My second child is very cute too, but being next to her older brother seems to people in check. Even so, about half the time we walk into a gas station she walks out with a free slushie. To be clear, I have never asked for any of this stuff. It's us going to the register to pay and the manager or business owner or whoever covering the card scanner and telling us it's on the house or similar as they coo at my kids. People get weird about cute kids.
Story 18.
That actually makes me weirdly feel better. My little sister was beautiful and I've always felt like I was just cute not to stand out in any real way. We looked a lot alike, but her face was like if you took mine and applied a beauty filter to it. My parents never gave her more attention than me, though, so like. Either my parents are super good at being parents, which is oblivious, or they legit thought I was as pretty as my sister. Incorrect, but so nice of them.
Story 19.
I read an interview with a sibling of a celebrity and he shared he'd get less presents and attention growing up. There was a significant difference in how many presents the one got over the other. Even as regular kids, the other got noticed more by adults and strangers because of their looks.
Story 20.
A lot of Instagram people with zero content, receiving money, sponsorships, and free products just for being pretty. That's the epitome of pretty privilege. But we live in a free society, so I have nothing against it and they're not infringing in anyone's rights. Subscribe to Words Out for more of such content.